Okay, in the past 5 or 10 minutes I've sanded it. I'm going to just kind of turn it by hand here. You can see it go by. It came out real pretty. This is just walnut oil that's on it. And so I'll go back and give it another coat of walnut oil and polish it up here after a bit. So the next thing that you're going to see is we're going to be setting up the vacuum chuck, and we'll be taking this off and putting it on the vacuum chuck and turning the inside. Okay, we're just about ready to use the vacuum chuck. This is the chuck head. Let me zoom in a little bit on it, right in there. And what we're going to do is, this is just a piece of aluminum, and we're going to put a gasket over this to seal around here, and then push that little plate right up against it. And then we'll turn the vacuum system on. This thing right here, I call it a Christmas tree, and it comes from the vacuum pump, the vacuum generator. And the whole purpose of that vacuum generator, and during this you may hear the air compressor start because it uses compressed air to create a vacuum. But the whole purpose of the vacuum generator obviously is to create a vacuum. And there's a little hose that goes down right up through the middle, and if you look inside there, there's a place where it pulls the air through. So let's go ahead, and I'll focus back in on this again. And basically we're going to be doing the same. We're going to be cutting wood, but the thing that's different from before is the means by which we hold the piece of wood being turned to the lathe. Let me get it down here. You can barely see down inside here. There's a little thing with some holes, and it goes out to the back end back here. What I use, here's the piece we're going to be turning. We're going to have this side facing out now, and what we want this to do is be held in there like that, but we have to make sure there's a good seal. So I just use a piece of hobby foam, and there's a little hole. I just punched a hole here with the scissors, and I kind of hold it up there. Well, I got ahead of myself here just a little bit. We have to make sure that this is centered on there. So now we're going to use our tailstock. We bring this up. Kind of need 3 hands for this. Get this out of the way. And that's why this hole is important, because there's a hole on the end of it, or a point on the end, and this will kind of line it up in there. Make sure that the gasket is formed around there okay. And I crank that and push it in, and it looks like it's turning okay. I'm going to turn the vacuum on now. And I can tell on my little gauge up here on the Christmas tree that that's holding very, very well. So what I'm going to do very quickly is take the scissors and just kind of trim off this excess stuff so it doesn't, otherwise it'll flap around and it won't hurt me or anything, but it just gets kind of in the way of stuff. So this is very, very inexpensive stuff. So now we've got this pushed up here, we can now take the tailstock totally away. I just removed it from the lathe, and the piece now is being held on there solely by vacuum. Now I should tell you that when it's under vacuum like this, that this is pulling about 400 or 500 pounds of force, but the tool is also applying force. When I use the tools up here, so I have to be careful I don't take too big or an aggressive a cut, because I've had these things pop off before. It's not necessarily real dangerous or anything, but you can see now it's going around, it's being held on there. So I'm going to use a series of pull cuts to start. To shape the inside of the bowl. We want to true up this is kind of wobbly, so we want to make this flat. There, it kind of flattens out a little bit. This tool works very, very well for doing it, but quite honestly, I really like using these big scrapers because it's got this curved edge on it. It's easier to form the bottom to the bowl. Go back and forth. Turn it off just for a second. You can see, I'm sure you can see it while it's running too. You can see that it's starting to, well, that's a nice contour. It's starting to form that bowl shape. How do you know so you don't go so deep that it pops out the bottom? It's just a matter of sense, I guess. After you've done so many of these, you can eyeball it. Really the best thing to do is to measure and drill a hole down through the middle. And you know the depth of the hole, so you don't go beyond that, and then that's the bottom of the plate. But I'm just going to kind of eyeball it right now. Make a little saucer out of it. I think I might put a little rim on it. That just kind of, when you're wood turning, sometimes things hit you while you're doing it. Stop it, and it's barely perceptible, but there's a little bit of a rim right around here, and I'm going to leave that. I think I can go just a little bit deeper and make another pass or two. Turn up the speed a little bit and make a finer cut. One more. I think I'm going to dress up that rim a little bit, make a little concave surface. Now this edge going around is pretty sharp, so I'm just going to barely touch it. This tool here, take the sharpness off. Whoops, there. Shouldn't have done that. Whenever you get little mess ups like that, you can always fix it with sandpaper. See if we took a big gouge out of that. I don't think so. I think I can clean that up with some sandpaper. Okay, I'm going to turn the recording off now because what I'm going to do is sand this and oil it.